Hello there, and welcome to my little corner here on YouTube, my arty little corner. I'm Angela Porter. I love to draw, I'm an artist, and I love to help encourage and inspire and share what I do in the way of art, how I create art, with the hope that I can share some wisdom with you or some insight, even if you disagree with me and think, no, that's not how I want to do it. That is still recognition of what is your way, and I'm fine with that. This is how I do it, doesn't mean everybody else has to do this. I've been away from the channel for a couple of weeks really. I pulled some muscles in between a pair of ribs on my back, but the pain has now spread round to the front, as it will do apparently as I begin to heal, and goodness knows what goes on. But I am able to sit up for periods of time and try drawing and doing other things before I have to relax everything again and work on letting the tension up. So I thought I'd come and see if I could do some drawing here with you. So I'm not in as much pain as I was, which is a good thing. Still stiff and I can still hurt if I get into the wrong position, but let's see how this goes. I'm actually working on a drawing board I bought. It's by Montmartre, and it can actually sit up almost pure vertical. But do you think the camera I use a document camera on a stand with all the buttons there. Do you think I can get it so it can see what I'm doing? Not a chance. So we'll see how it goes. I've got it set flat, which means that the paper is a lot closer to me, so I won't have to bend over, hopefully, so much to get my eyes as close as I like to. In fact, don't need that now. A little bit of that. I've got a piece of paper here. It is the Sea White all media paper from a sketchbook, and this one happens to be about 22 centimetres by about 12, give or take a couple of millimetres, and I've just put a pencil border around the outside edge, and I just want to draw today for pleasure. I'm not very with it today, very tired today, but I'll be fine. I want to draw, I want to come back and start getting back into the swing of things and doing stuff. And so if this means that this is what I do, even if I don't complete this, and I know that in my last video, I am rambling here. In my last video, I know I started a drawing, but I can't remember where I put it. It'll turn up. It will turn up. I just can't remember where I put it. So, you have to bear with me on that one. So it's a good excuse to start again. So I'm, in my own way, I'm going to start with some of my favourite things, because this truly is drawing practice for me. Not just in terms of drawing, but also in working out how I hold my pen, how I now have to sit, and so on, until everything is so much better. And I've picked up a pen that I think I've used extensively, and the nib is a bit on the recordy side, but I'm fine with slightly wrecked nibs, especially for drawing practice. I bought this slope, or this drawing board that will slope. It's the one I've got that doesn't slope at a steep enough angle for me, and I just thought this might be the better option. We'll see. I'd like to be able to sketch for the book I'm working on and have a deadline very soon, but I've got some sketches to get done, so I'm hoping this will work for me. But we'll see. So I'm just starting out with some curved shapes, which are some of the things I absolutely love to draw. And I think I'm going to fill this one with some zigzags. I'm not trying to make them exactly the same size today. My whole intention for this session is just to enjoy the process of drawing, hopefully without too much in the way of discomfort, and just see how I get on and how long I can manage, really, without pushing myself too far, because that's the important key. It's a tough lesson for me, all of this, in learning to take care of myself, not to push myself too much, to give myself the time and space to heal without feeling guilty about it. And I have pushed myself a bit too far at times, and I think this is why I'm out of it today. I went for a walk yesterday. It wasn't a long walk, but it was most probably a bit too far, because by the time I'd driven to a supermarket to pick up some shopping and stuff, I was sore by the time I got home, and I think that has just lasted into today. So, but we'll see. Tell you what's making this awkward. This has got a lip at the bottom of it for pencils and stuff. So I'm just going to turn this round so I get this out of my way, because I'm trying to reach over it, which is not helping me in the slightest. So there we go. Actually, it slopes in completely the opposite direction now, which is of no use to me unless I can get this to... It should sit flat. Come on. Why are you not sitting flat for me? It should sit flat. For goodness sakes. Oh, I can see why. It came with this enormous elastic band at the top of it to help hold your paper, which means that it just doesn't let it sit flat unless you're careful. So this is a bit better. It's still sloping, I think, towards the front a little bit, but at least I haven't got that in my way and I'm not trying to get myself over it awkwardly. This is intriguing me, what I'm drawing here, because I don't really have a clear idea in my head of what I want to draw. Not that I ever do particularly. I often have a theme. If I'm working for a colouring book, I have a theme I have to work to. And that gives me some ideas, and I just go with that then. Okay, so I want to do something in the centre here, and I think what I'm going to do some more little semicircles, and I think I might put them like this with that dark centre. And then what I'm going to do here on each side, I'm going to put a spiral. So while I'm doing this, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your lovely messages. I'm sorry I haven't responded to them all, but sitting still for a long time at a computer or with a phone, I don't like using phones for things, in my hand has been an issue. But as I get used to this more and more, then I will catch up with it, I promise you. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm absolutely humbled by the number of you who've messaged me in various places to say how much you're missing my videos, which I never would have thought. And I feel really, really humbled by that. So thank you. Each and every one of you, thank you so much. And for the get well soon wishes as well. Because I'm on the mend. I'm not exactly in the bestest of place. I mean, if I could take my camera and stuff and sit on my bed, nested in my pillows and film, then I'd be okay for a while. But sitting here, it's really difficult because it puts a lot of strain on those muscles in my back. But we shall see. And I've actually got a heated pad around my side, around my front, my side, my back, adding some heat, because heat really does soothe it, really does help. And if I get cold or if I get stiff, it really eases the muscles up quickly, well, relatively speaking. And that was the advice given by the physiotherapist that I saw, who was fab. So we're on the mend. 4 to 6 weeks though, she said. 4 to 6 weeks. It's been 2 and a bit. So I'm doing really well, I reckon. Okay, so I've got some interesting things going on here. I cannot do anything without introducing some kind of seed pod style of things, really, because that is my, well, I wouldn't say signature, but it's one of the things I just love to have. While I've been unable to do very much, and that literally means, you know, sort of like lying on my side for much of the day, YouTube, surprisingly, has been a great source of fascination. From Japanese cookery to fossil hunting to anti-MLM videos to other kinds of cooking and even digital art and all sorts of stuff, because, you know, it's amazing what you find, and it's even more amazing what YouTube will recommend in bizarre and wonderful ways that seem to make no sense at all. Oh, and Sherpa the Husky. Well, Malamute mostly. I think he's about a quarter husky. But yeah, I've watched all kinds of stuff. But one I watched just yesterday was, I can't remember the name. I know it was something mercurial. I'll put the link in the bottom to it. It's digital art, showing how to do something in Clip Studio, which I use when I do digital art. And I'm going to have to watch more videos. So I go, oh, so that's what that does. That's what that means. That's how that works. I got a lot of learning to do there as well. Something he said, I thought that's the perfect way of saying that. It was about lighting, adding highlights and shadow to your work. And he was doing it with a portrait or an illustration of a woman in a sort of futuristic kind of alleyway setting, I suppose. And was that, you know, the great thing about this in digital art, it doesn't have to be photorealistic, it just needs to be believable. So don't try, you know, to be too, you know, you don't have to be realistic or follow rules of realism necessarily, as long as it's believable. And the basic kind, there are 3 kinds of ways, or 3 types of shadows that you usually add to a drawing. And I thought, oh, thank goodness somebody else has said that. Because I often say that, I think, is that as long as you're consistent with what you do, as long as it looks right, it is right. It's not photorealism that, well, I certainly don't do photorealism, and I've got no intention of doing photorealism. My book, that's what cameras are for, and I'm not particularly wonderful with cameras, so I discovered I'm a lot better than I thought I was, put it that way. But I thought that was lovely, a lovely idea, not just to do with adding colours or highlights, shadows, things like that, but art in general. It just has to be believable. And I think more than anything else, it just has to be an expression of you and who you are. So what you're getting here today is an expression of me and things I like to draw, and perhaps a little insight into words I've wanted to share but haven't had the words for. That sounds ridiculous, because I often know, I've said this before, but I started this channel to get me to speak about art, to vocalise what goes on in my head, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. And often I don't have the words for things. Sometimes I need to hear somebody else say them. And I go, yep, that's exactly what I wanted to say and I couldn't find the words for. Sometimes I have to be forced to put things into words, you know, hence talking here. And sometimes it takes somebody to say something in a slightly different way and the pennies drop as well. So, and I just find that so interesting in its own lovely, wonderful, amazing way. So what I'm sort of doing here, it's almost like I've got piles of things piled one on top of the other here. I'm actually going to do the same here. Oh, I'm beginning to get sore. So my videos are going to be extremely short going forward for a while. But almost like these are curving back underneath here and hidden behind. So adding colour or shadow to this will bring out a lot of volume to it, I think. Okay, is there anything else I can do? I do want to pop something in here. And I think it's going to be something like this. That naturally just wanted to go off in that direction, so I just let it. Like so. A little bit more black there. And I also think I'm just going to add some seeds inside here. This one's too small really. This one is just wonderful for this. So I'm just going to add some of these here. What I'm going to do then, very briefly, because, excuse me while I reach across, I've got these come with lots of different makes of markers. They're sort of silicone mats so that you can, oh gosh, can't draw on things without, use alcohol markers without them bleeding through to the other side. Now I'm hoping here I've got my, I think, yeah, these are my newest, well, one set of my newest ones. These are mid-toned, you can see. I think these are the mid-toned ones that I wanted, except there should be another swatch there. There are. All these lovely colours, which are sort of like, they're not too bright and they're not too pale. And some of them aren't in other sets. So I've got this lovely Antwerp blue here, but I do want a Antwerp blue like that. Smoky blue would go nicely with it, but that blue grey would tone in between the two, I think. So MG060, we've got that, and the smoky blue, and that's there. So I think they will work. I think that one will work, won't it? It is sort of in between the two. The aquamarine's a bit on the brighter side. No, I don't think, I'm not sure I'm going to get that one. Let's have a look and see what happens, but failing anything else, I can always resort to coloured pencils. So I'm going to use this colour alternately in these stripes at the base and towards the top as well. Like so. And then I'm going to use the lighter toned one. Oh yeah, that'll work. That works nicely. I want one that's much lighter than this though. We'll see what happens now. Like so. And I don't have, it's not one that's lighter really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this colourless blender, which will just bleach out some of that colour and lighten it up there. And I've just realised I've used completely the wrong paper for this because there's a lot of feathering going on here, partly because these are very, very saturated. So cadmium orange and chrome orange will work. I think so. So this is the cadmium orange, and I think it's darker than the other one I've just picked out, so a bit there as well. And then I'm just going to let these blend one into another as well. They might bleed into the blue, but I quite like blue and orange. They're complementary colours, so they're going to play quite nicely with one another. And then for these little seeds in the middle, I think I might go this one, but I'm going to use a paler orange again. So I'm putting the darker colour where I want the darker colour. And then I'm going to use, oddly, I've got one here that's called Deep Orange, and yet it isn't a deep orange in colour. How bizarre. Oh, it's a brownie colour. Okay, we'll work with that. It's not the colour I wanted. It's not the colour that was on the paper there. But let's have a look. Let's just go back with a light colour and just bleach some of that out. And then with the colours blender as well, just to give that lighter spot at the top where there would be a highlight naturally. And that will just help. So there's some colour going on there. I really do like the combination of this Antwerp blue and smoky blue. I do have to say that. So I'm going to make use of that in these. So I'm going to just put dark at each end of these little arcs here. It's the first time I've used these pens. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was of you who recommended them to me, saying that they're called, is it Honolulu? Ohuhu Honolulus, which have got both the... These ones the brush tip. No, these have got a chisel tip. But these ones only come, this set colour I think only comes in brush pens, which actually is fine. And will work quite nicely for me, I think. Even though I'm making a right pig's ear of it, because my paper isn't the best for this, but it's sketchbook work. Angela, it's sketchbook work. You are just playing because you can, just to see how much you can do, to come back and start to make videos again and get back into the swing of things, because I've been away for a bit. And I'm very keen to get my art going once again. So this here is actually called Yellow Dahlia, and it looks very browny and icky, but I have to remind myself, like with this orange here, I thought, oh no, it's brown. They dry back to a different colour. So I think this will be okay. And then I'm just going to put some of the orange down where I want some darker colour. Like this. And this will actually help to fade out the brown or the blue that's overspilled. I'll come back to the bars once that's dried. These ones down here, I really do want to make use of this really bright orange. And I might make use of glazing. And glazing is where, once the colour's dried, you go back over and you can lay on another layer of colour so it darkens the colour in places. And I think here will be a good place to actually use this colour to fill this space in. The brown or the blue that's overspilled will become kind of like a shadow there, or a stain, which I'm fine about. And I may be able to find a colour, like mahogany might be the one to go for, that would help me. Oops, wrong end. Just go there. And then I'm just going to go back with this orange and just help to blend them. So that'll give that, ooh, that does give that some depth, doesn't it? Yeah, almost instantly. So I've got an awful lot of catching up to do when it comes to social media. And to get back in the swing of things. So I may overdo myself here a little bit, but the advice is, you know, I have to keep moving, I have to keep doing things, because if I don't, my muscles will become stiff and seize up and makes things worse. But the fine line is how much you do. I really like this burnt orangey colour with this blue. I picked these colours up because the palette appealed to me, not all of it, but there was a large number of colours in here that I hadn't got in other sets that were more soft and muted, and as I've said, mid-toned compared to the more usual, you know, more muted than the brighter sets, but not as pale and pastel-y as the pastel colours. And I'm very much working, or been doing a lot of work with, I was before I was stopped in my tracks, looking at arts and crafts, William Morris and Art Nouveau work, and discovered that this is where my love of colour and design and the things I like to draw sort of like is embedded in. And so I don't want the really bright, vibrant colours because they were a lot softer and muted, even though they were strong colours. So this is why this set intrigued me, because I thought, oh, fantastic, a pot full of interesting things. One day I'm going to get round and I'm going to sort out everything that belongs together for this. But I am enjoying what I am getting down on paper here. So it's messy, but said it's sketchbook work, and that's fine. Because I'll write a note on here, next time you do this, Angela, use marker paper, for goodness sakes. That's because I didn't think far enough ahead to realise I'd be able to or want to do this. So it's a funny one here, funny situation, in that I've got so far and realised, oh, I'm just putting a little bit of this darker blue at the base of these smaller triangles, just to add that little hint of shadow there. And I'm going to go back with this Dahlia yellow, I think, at the top here, and just add some in there, just to lighten this up, because any lighter colour will bleach colours out. And just to help that along, I'm also going to make use of the colourless blender, which might help to get rid of some of the blue that's spilled over, but it is what it is. I'm beginning to wiggle here, so I'm on the point of saying this is enough for today. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the dark blue yeah, this is definitely going to be my last stroke now. And to emphasise that, I'm putting them away. I'm going to put my colour swatches away. You can see what they are. Lovely colour. There's some lovely colours in here. And I've only seen those colours once before. So these arrived. I think they arrived the evening, the day before I hurt my back. So I had enough time to swatch them, and then they've been put to one side ever since. So there we are. So I've put them away so I can't be tempted, and this is as far as I've got. But I've done nearly half an hour. I've done not quite because I've waffled a lot. But it's me just starting to draw again. So, muscles allowing, I'll try to return tomorrow and do a little something, and perhaps to add to this, as long as I put it somewhere where I can find it. And I'm going to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for putting up with my waffling and moaning. I am a bit groany at the moment because I don't have anybody at home to groan to because I live alone. Now, I live by myself. Alone implies lonely. I'm not lonely. But sometimes I would like people to moan at. But sorry, you're getting it. But thank you, all of you, for sticking with me. And as time goes by, my back will heal and my muscles will heal. And in between, my ribs will heal. And I'll be back to full functionality in the fullness of time. So take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves. Be kind to yourselves as you would be to another. And I'll see you again as soon as I'm able to. Take care for now. Bye-bye. Bye all.